I realized I played for God when I was playing soccer for free. I promise I never played for money. I had a fun time. I had a really good time. I realized no matter what, I fucking missed some goals. I also had a good time. I realized that's a soccer game. I realized it's never playing for money. I realized the dream is never making the money. I realized the dream is just doing what you love to do. I realized that's a dream. I realized the dream is just doing what you love to do. I realized that the dream is never doing what you love to do for the money. I realized that's a scam. I realized that those people who go acting, I realized that you go and act for free. I realized when they call you, I realized that you have the money. I realized you just go and do it for free. I just need you to be there for free. I just need you to be there for free doing it. I never need you to work for the money. I realized that you just sold God on that. I realized that those people who work for the money never have God. I realized they're all fake. I do this for free. I'll never do this for $1 billion. I'll never do it for any money in the world. I promise you that nobody in my life can buy my company out. I'll never sell my company for money. I realize no matter what that Mark Zuckerberg will. I can see Mark Zuckerberg. I realize that guy's going to sell his whole company for money. I realize that guy has just sold everything for the devil. I promise you that guy is just... I promise you the guy's finished. I promise you at the moment, he can... I realize, guys, no matter what, that when you're working for free, you'll always be a person who's just living life. I need you to act for free. I need you to dance for free. I never need you to work for money. I need you to go and be a personal trainer for free. I need you to help people lose weight for free. I need you to do everything for free. I realized that when I was helping people lose weight for free, I thought I was losing something in the process. I was actually gaining so much information and knowledge about how to help people lose weight. I realized I stuffed myself up. I started to ask for money. I thought I was ready to ask for money. I just never knew about what I was doing. I realized no matter what, that you go and educate people in your schools in a 9-to-5 job for free. I promise you, I never need you to work for money. I never need you to work for money. I promise you that the money will come freely. I promise you that you just need to have faith that money will come around when you're working for free. I promise you no matter what, that every single day, I do a 3-hour video. I do it for free. I do 3 hours of content every single day, I promise you. I do more than that. I do content throughout my whole day. I'm always writing, I'm always doing some videos, I'm always doing something that's going to help me to live life. I realize no matter what, that those people who are working for money never have God. I realize that Conor McGregor, I realize that guy's doing it for the money. I swear that it's never even Conor McGregor. I swear it's some fake person doing it. I swear that person has no God. I promise you, however, that at the moment, I realize that person is going to have a connection with God. I realize no matter what, that most people believe that you need to dream big. I promise you need to dream big. I promise you that the dream big scenario is just do it for free. I don't care what it is. I promise you that you can dream big to be anything in life. You just have to do it for free. I realize that the dream is doing it for free. I realize I have the dream now. I have the lifestyle. I have everything I need because I do it for free. I realize that's all you have to understand. I realize that people believe that the big scenario of life is working for the money. I realize that's the evil part. I never need you to dream big for the money. I need you to dream big of how much learning and growth you will experience by just doing it without the money. I need you to realize that when you have a big dream, that you go and live your dream. You never live it for the money. You go and live it for God. You go and live it for your dream. You go and live it for something bigger than you. I realize that the money inside your dream is something that other people around you will start to give you to make sure that they would solidify you to be in that spot for the money. I realized, for example, with WWE, I realized what happened. I realized that they have a 5-year term. I realized they would give me money for 5 years. I realized that contract means I become their slave for 5 years. I just realized what that is. I realized no matter what, that there are many people in life who would give you contracts stating you must work for me for a period of time in order for you to gain this much money. I realized that is a slavery. I say, voila. I just learned something much bigger now. I realize what God is saying. I apologize, God, because I never knew. I needed to go to the WWE. I said in my mind, I said inside of myself, I said, I would work for 5 years over there. I'll do it for free, I said. I did say I'll do it for free. I although just learned something about the contract. I realized the money will come freely. I realized that no matter what, I realized they'll put me in a 5-year term there. I realized I would have to be around them for 5 years. I realized I can never just be going back and forth. I realized when you're going back and forth, you're free. You're free to enter WWE whenever you need. I realized no questions asked. I realized you can go out anytime you need. I promise you that's the freedom. I need you to be in that type of space. I realized that when you go work for the WWE and Vince McMahon, I realized he may give you a 10-year contract. I realized he may give you $20 million. I realized he's giving you far less than what you deserve. I realized most people say yes. I realized they're on TV for 20 years. I realized they're on TV for 10 years. I realized no matter what, that there's slaves on TV for others. I realized there's slaves. I realized they have to go around the world 365 days with the WWE to work for money for their boss, Vince McMahon. I never need you to have a boss such as Vince McMahon and anybody in the world, including me. I never need to be your boss. I'll never put you in a contract. I'll never put you in a contract such as they do for sports in terms of soccer and NRL here in Australia and also around the world. I need you to realize that when you go play for your country, you go and play for your country for freedom. You go and do it for free. I realize when you go and fight in the war, you go and do it for free. You never ask for money for it. You go for freedom. I realize that the Anzacs fought for freedom. I promise you, that is the biggest honor. I promise you that people who go in the war and fight for freedom, I promise you that is them really sacrificing their life for God. I realize that many people have died for God already. I promise you that there are terrorists who go in a plane and do it for free and go and crash into 9/11. I realize they go and crash into the 9/11 and they do it for free. I promise you. I don't know about that. I realize no matter what, that is probably money driven. I never care about that. I realize that there are people who commit suicide. I realize there are people who commit suicide and do it for free. I realize that's something different. I need to realize that there are people who may even explode themselves and do it for free. I don't know about that. I realize that no matter what, I realize that you just work for free. I realize I never need you to kill yourself. I never need you to be a terrorist. I never need you to put other people on contracts such as Vince McMahon does, and also the soccer industry and the sports industry that make you be their little pet slave to score them goals to boost their company for money. You've just sold yourself for a good amount of time for somebody else other than God. I realized that in that time you never had God. I realized no matter what, the Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo and all the WWE superstars, no matter how much they're famous, I promise you they are working for people and never for God. I'm more free than them. I have more money than them. I am more successful than them. I never care. I have God in my life. I have God in my life more than they do. I realized Brock Lesnar from the age of 25 worked for money all his life. I realized the guy may be 40 something now. I realized no matter what, I realized he worked for money. Do you understand? I realized the guy just has no fucking God in his life. I realized the guy is just fucking purely evil. I promise you. I promise you the guy will break your arm. I promise you the guy will smash you. I promise you the guy will throw you around the ring. I realized he never was really working for the money. I realized he was turning into this fucking beast. I promise you he was turning into this person that you will never even recognize. I realized wrestlers have been dying over the years. I realized I understand why now. I understand they commit suicide. I realize they kill people. I realize they really traumatize the WWE. I realize they traumatize the WWE because no matter what, they work for money. I realized when you're working for money, you'll always be traumatized no matter what. You may be on TV and working for money. I promise you that you would be, for example, anybody who committed suicide, such as Robin Williams. I promise you, that person, I promise you, I can say that he worked for money. I can honestly say that Robin Williams was working for money, and no matter what, I can see it. I realize no matter what, that even when you're on TV, you can commit suicide. I promise you, even when you have fame and you're never working for free, I promise you that you will also have a heart attack, such as people who are in the WWE and dying because they're doing steroids and they're just unhappy because they're working for money. I can also name the names. I'd rather name them. I realized that Eddie Guerrero was working for money. I realized he had a heart attack. I realized no matter what, that Chris Benoit, I will say so, that he was working for money. I realized he went and killed his family. I realized there are many other people, such as Mr. Perfect. I realized that person was working for money. I realized he died also. I realized there are many of them in the WWE industry who work for money. I realized they put blame on Vince McMahon for it. I realized what happened now. I realized that it was back then, no matter what, there was no legal attempt to, say, legalize in terms of the steroids industry. I promise you that people in that business were using steroids behind Vince McMahon's back. I promise you that Vince McMahon never made it illegal. I promise you that he never put that illegal attempt in it, and he was blamed for that. I promise you that Vince McMahon said, "Oh, I never knew about this." I promise you, "Oh, I never knew about this. I will now change it." I promise you that no matter what, that all the people who work for WWE are slaves. I never care who you are. I realize no matter what, when you work for a WWE, you never work for God. You need to realize that you need to work for God. I realize that it's blessed to give money. I realize that it's never blessed to give money for people to work for you. I promise you now that when you give money, you would give it freely for others to never work for you. I'll show you something more. I'll show you that that's the honest case, that many people are signing contracts for NRL, which is a rugby team organization in Australia. I realize they're signing contracts for a certain period of time to never get injured and to be scoring a certain amount of tries and to be in a team for a certain amount of time before they can exchange for money and go elsewhere. I promise you those people never have friends. I promise you they never have a God. I promise you they're never growing. I promise you they are living a facade of a life. I promise you their life is a shamble. I promise you that no matter what, that just because they're on TV never means they're living the life. I'm on TV, I'm living the life, I'm working for free. I realize now I never have a contract. I will never be in a contract for anything. I realize that, for example, when you have a phone plan, I realize they put you on a contract. I'm never putting myself on a contract ever again. I was on a contract for 2 years with my iPhone 8 Plus. I realized no matter what, I got off the contract. I learnt my lesson. I realized I was giving money. I realized that giving money is blessed. I just realized that I never need to put myself in a contract and be a slave to anybody. I realized when you go and grab yourself a loan from the bank, I realized they're going to make you a slave for money. I never need you to do that either. I never need you to go to the bank for anything. I realize they're going to say all these interest. I realize they're going to say all these interest terms, and they're going to give you extra deals, and they're going to give you bonuses to get their money. I never need you to get their money because they're going to start chasing you with debt collectors. I realize they're going to start chasing you with debt collectors, and you're going to lose. I realize when you're selling iPhones and possessions, you're really working for the money also. I realized I was supposed to do that. I realized that I was going to do that. I was going to sell my laptop for money. I realized I was also going to sell iPhones. I was going to make an iPhone business. I realized I had an idea about who actually gave me that idea. I thought it was a good idea. I realized I'd be out of the 9-to-5 job because of that. I started to realize no matter what, that other people are doing that. I realized they're never making any money for that. I realized they're never making anything about that. I realized the longer they go that path, I realized the longer they're going to be a nobody. I realized somehow I just said I'll never do it. I realized somehow I led myself away from it. I realized somehow in the moments of never selling my laptop, I realized that I really needed my laptop. I realized somebody offered me money. I said, I need more than that. I needed $300 extra to sell my laptop. I realized I never sold my laptop. I promise you that person said no. I realized there's so many scams going around eBay and Amazon. I realized that many people are selling stuff on Shopify for money. I realized they're selling jewelry for money. I realized they're doing it for money. I realized they're selling all this material for money. I realized people are selling contracts for money. I realized what's happening now. I realized they're really selling themselves to the devil. I realize now I'm smarter now about what's going on. I realize now I've really learned something around my video here. I realize no matter what, I never expected this. I realize now I can see what WWE is and the television ratings. I realize that those people who go on television, I realize they're really slaves to money. I realize they really hate what they're doing. I realize they really hate what they're doing. I realize it's never really them anymore. I realize what started is never really what's happening anymore. I realize The Rock though, I realize that guy is doing it for free. I can promise you that guy is doing it for free. I realize that The Rock is really up there now. I realize that guy, I can really see him. I can really see his status. I can really see he's really doing it for free now. I realize he's got the money. I realize he's never even doing it for the money anymore. I realize no matter what, I realize he learned something about that. I realize now Tony Robbins does it for free. I promise you. I realize also Tony Robbins sells himself on money also. I realize he's making mistakes. I realize Tony Robbins making mistakes. I realize for myself, I never sell myself for money. I'll never sell myself for money ever again. I realize I'll never be working for the stock market so that I can make money on the stock market. I never care about that. I never care to make money. I never care about how much money I'll make in life. I never care about how I'll get the money. I realize all I care about is to just do it free, because everything I get in freedom. I realize I care about everything that is related to freedom. I need you to realize that no matter what, when you're working everything in life, I realize you need to always realize that you never be put into a contract in a sports team where you have to go to a certain place for money. I realize that for 10 years you have to work for somebody else. I realize you'll never be even working for God. I realize that you may think that people are cheering for you. I realize that I see Cristiano Ronaldo now in his house. I realize I know people around him except for his family. I realize that crowd cheering for him, I realize it's a fake facade. I realize it's a fake facade. I realize the guy thinks he's so good. I realize that no matter what, I can see Cristiano Ronaldo scoring goals and all of this. I realize that he was never doing it for God. I apologize, bro. I realize that you were doing it for money. I realize that you're the richest soccer player in the world. In terms of money, I realize no matter what, I can go and play soccer in the park for God. I realize I'll be doing better than you. I promise you, no matter what, that you can go do the same thing and you'll probably smash me. I can also repeat the same career you had. I can do it for free. I promise you, I will have had a much more successful career. I promise you, no matter what, that you never go flipping things I promise you that you never go flipping things like Gary Vaynerchuk does in a garage sale. I never need you to sell anything for money. I promise you that when you're selling for money, you're really doing something stupid there. I realize you're selling something for money. I never need you to sell anything for money. I need you to realize that the world is free. I mean, everything's for free. I never need you to flip for $1. I never need you to call that your some kind of hobby. I never care about what you say about that. I realize that you're selling and flipping stuff for free. I never need you to flip real estate. I never need you to flip anything. I never need you to sell in garage sales. I never need you to sell your car. I need you to give it away for free. I need you to give everything away for free. I promise you for free. I promise you someone will take your stuff for free. I promise you that's all you need. I promise you that you can have a garage sale. I promise you when you have a garage sale, when people come into your garage sale, I promise you just see free everywhere. I promise you they'll just come in and grab something. I promise you that's all you need. I promise you that you just need to get rid of it. You just need to get rid of it so you can have more space. I understand. I believe that you never need the money. I realize that you need God more than the money. I realize that you need to do something for free. I realized that it's more blessed to give and then make money for it. Do you understand? You need to give more wisdom and never make money on it. I realize that somebody out there will just come and pour money into your pocket. I realize they'll do it for free. I realize you're doing all this work for free. I realize they may as well give you $1 billion for free. I promise you, there are people in the planet who will give you $1 billion for free for you to just do your work. I promise you, there are people like that. I mean, no extra charges and there is no contracts involved. I realize they'll give you $1 billion for you to just walk away and just go do your work. Because they support you. I realize they support you in what you do. I hope this message really inspires you. I really am inspired right now that I see more about what's going on around television. I realize no matter what, when you go and make a big event and hold 10,000 capacity inside and you give them money for it, I promise you that's your event. I promise you did it for God. I promise you that when you're looking for money, I promise you, you are going to be scamming people. I was scammed on many occasions. I went online and I fucking gave $200 for a DEF CON ticket. I never went to DEF CON. I never deserved it. I deserve something better though. I went somewhere better. I did something better. I went and seen something else. I did something else. I received that money in other ways. I realized I have 10 more times and more coming for me. I realized no matter what, ever since that day, I've always made more money anyway. I've always done more. I realize when someone scams you for money, I realize I have more money anyway. I realize that people who scam you, I realize will never scam you. I realize when you get scammed for money, I realize you have more in God. I just realized now that no matter what, I was watching all these soccer players. I realized they're so good on TV. I realized I fucking wish I was them. I used to wish I was them. I realized my biological dad put me into soccer. I started to run around. I realized I was a failure. I realized I was a failure. I never made it on TV. I realized I was playing for God though. I was playing for God. I was never playing for the money. I realized when you play for the money, I realized then you really signed a contract stating you work for this much. I hope you understand that you never have a contract in life. I never need you to have a real estate contract either. I realize that, for example, in real estate, you may be renting. I realize that the person's going to say, I need you in this house for 6 months, and you must be giving me money for 6 months to even leave. I realize that is also selling your soul to the devil. I realize that's also another factor of life, that where you're in real estate and they say you must be here a certain period of time for you to be able to even consider leaving. I realize I'll never even go there. I realize no matter what, I broke the terms and conditions. I left that place 3 months early. I left the place 3 months early. I never care about them. I realized no matter what, I gave the person money. I was never supposed to give him money. I also gave them money. I got rid of him. I was supposed to be there for an extra 3 months. I realized the person was really doing my head in. I realized no matter what, I just went away. I realized I deserved to be free. I just ran away from the real estate and rental place that I was renting. I realized no matter what, the person came there asking for rent. I said goodbye. I gave my last dollar to the person. I just left for Melbourne. I went and traveled for 10 months. I realized no matter what, I never knew what I was doing. I became more free because of it. I just fucking left. I never said to the person that was going to leave. I realized the person would have said, I realized the person would have said that, no, you must be here. I realized, no, yes, I must go. I must go always. I realized now, you must never be in a contract for anything. You must never be in a contract in a sports team. You must never be in a contract in real estate. You must never be in contract for the WWE. You must never be in contract for anything. You must never work for money. You must never be in a contract to work in a 9-to-5 job. I promise you it's all a scam. I promise you it's a pyramid scheme. I promise you when they force you to do it, I promise you that is God's calling. I promise you it's actually God with you. I promise you it's God really saying, I love you. I promise you that now I realize no matter what, I was a person who was far controlled in my life, and you have to realize that it's really God stating, I realize what you're doing here. I need you to realize that you keep on going. I realize that I love what you're doing. I just have to be in your life. I have to exert some control over you because you're just taking all these photos for free, and you realize that you are doing it for me. I just need you to realize that. I need you to understand that there's something bigger playing over here. I never cared about anything else except for you now. I need to be in your life now. I realized that God was in my life recently. I realized that everything there was happening for me. I realized I did nothing wrong. I realized I was attacked by people. I realized they exerted control over me. I realized it was really God doing it. I need to be in your life. I need you to realize something over here. I need you to realize that you are really doing a favor for me over here. I realized that God was speaking for me in this way. I realized I can understand the freedom work over here. I can understand that from that day I changed. I just started to do much better. I realized it was a big wake-up calling. I realized something in my life was really saying, you're just really doing much better than those people. I realized I was really doing much better than those people. I realized those people had me stupid. I realized I thought it was the people. I realized God was really saying, you are doing something amazing for me. I realized God exerted control over me. I realized a big power and entity went over me and said, I love you. I love you. I'll never hurt you. I'll never hurt you. I love it. I learned something on the process. I learned something, and I realized something now. I've taught you something over here. I realized another way somebody can exert control over you is in any type of contract. I never need you to work for the corporate ladder. I never need you to work in any type of ladder except for the freedom ladder. I realize that any type of contract that someone can put on you, I realize in terms of UFC also, I promise you that in the UFC, I promise you they sign contracts. I promise you they sign contracts to fight in the cage. I promise you they sold their soul to the devil. I promise you in the boxing ring also, I promise you in the boxing ring, they fight for money. I promise you they never fight for God. I promise you. I promise you when you need to fight, you go and fight for freedom. I promise you you'll be the best boxer there. You'll fight for God. I promise you you'll be the best soccer player. You'll be the best anything when you're doing it for free. I promise you. Anyway, guys, I have to realize no matter what that you just get inspired by this video. I realize that I'm doing it for free. I'll never sell my money in terms of I will never sell myself for money. I never care about money. I'll just say that. I realize I stuffed up right there. I never care about money. I'll never sell my soul to the devil. I'll never sell myself for money. I realize to say that. I realize that many people are suspicious about money and what's going on. I need you to realize that money is a suspicion. I need you to really go the freedom path now. I realize that freedom is never a suspicious activity. It's really something amazing. It's something that's really going to lift you. It's something really that's going to say, you deserve it. You deserve to live life. You deserve to be something much more than you are. You deserve to really amplify your life. I will give you everything you need. I just need you to really start doing it for free. I realize the more freedom you work in life, the more you do for free, I promise you that life is really going to take care of you. I believe in freedom. I believe in God. I believe that when you're working for free, that somebody out there in terms of God is going to really amplify your life. I realize I'm taken care of when I'm working for free. I realize that many people are going to get inspired for free. I understand that freedom is everything. I like to abbreviate some terms and conditions in terms of freedom. I never put a staple on you to say that you must be working for me for 3 years for this money. I realize that prostitutes, in terms of pornography, I realize they're all going for money. I realize they're having sex for money. I realize they have no God. I realize that in the area, escorts are working for money. I need you to be an escort and prostitute for free. I need you to go make pornography videos for free. I need you to masturbate for freedom. I never need you to do it for yourself. I need you to go and do everything for free. I never care what it is. You can go kill for free. You can go and do anything for free. You can go do anything for free. I promise you that you'll never even kill. I promise you that you can be the best prostitute on the planet and work for free. I promise you that you'll be always a degrading son of a bitch when you're working for money. I never care what it is. I promise you that a woman who is a glamorous woman working for money is really a shithole. I promise you that a glamorous woman working for free and is a prostitute who fuck the world, I promise you that woman has the biggest attention. I promise you she really worked for the... I realize she really worked for God. I realize she never worked for money. I realize that God will find her a way. You ladies who are really sexy out there, you can go and be a prostitute. I can be a prostitute. I can go have sex with women. I can have an advertisement for free saying I have sex for free. I need you guys to come have sex with me. I can put it on my Instagram. I can say I am currently taking subjects to have sex with for free. I will also have your application. I realize no matter what, I can also have some naked photos on Instagram for free. I promise you, I'll gain a woman or two. I'll start having sex with them because they really need sex. I'll go and give it for free. I'll sell myself for free. I promise you, I'll be the biggest porn star in the planet for free. I'll do it for freedom. I promise you that God will say yes. I promise you that you actually make the best porn star in the planet. You can do anything for free, guys. You just have to realize that no matter what it is, you have to realize that no matter what it is, that in politics, I promise you it's all money related. I promise you that in politics it's all money related, and who gives who more money in politics has the better side. I promise you that when you are going into politics, I never need you to be in a contract with them for money. I need you to go there. I need you to say that you work for free. I need you to say that you came in God's presence. I need you to say that I lead for free. I never lead for money. You understand? You have to understand that America has the term land of the free. I need you to see that you need everything in that land for free. I never need your price tags in that country. You understand? I never need those price tags in for the food as well. I realize you kill an animal. I realize you kill a non-human animal and you price tag it for $2. You have to understand that pig is for free. You have to understand that you eat it for free. You have to understand that you never eat anything for free. You always eat everything for free. You eat it for free. You understand? You never price tag it. You never price tag it because no matter what, you need to do everything that's better. I never eat non-human animals. I do it for God. I just realized that you never, ever do anything for money. I realized that illegal suspectability. I realized that illegal activity has a lot to do with money laundering. I realized that money laundering is signing contracts for people to work for you for slaves. I realized that money laundering is for people to work for you to be a slave for money. I realize Vince McMahon does it. I realize that people in Barcelona do it. I realize that people everywhere in the world in soccer teams do it. I realize that everywhere in Australia around the AFL and the NRL teams do the contract money laundering stuff. I realize it's all illegal. I promise you they legalize it. I promise you they legalize it and call it legal. I promise you that this world is full of people who rule the world through money. I promise you that also, I promise you that God will always lead the world through freedom. I promise you now that you have a choice. Are you going to choose freedom? Are you going to choose money? I will also ask you this question. Are you going to choose freedom? Are you going to choose Bill Gates' chip? I realize that Bill Gates is making a chip. I realize that when you plant that chip in you, I realize they can find everything about you. I realize you've sold your soul to the devil. I realize no matter what, they've put a chip in you to realize to say you can only buy food and anything for money when you have a chip. I fucking never care about your Bill Gates. I never care about your Microsoft bullshit. I realize you did that for money. I realize no matter what, that there is a chip being played in the world where it says you can now go and work for money. You can now go do everything that you ever need because you have a chip to say so, and you can now also increase your vitality and everything through this chip. I will also guarantee you that you'll do everything with this chip that you can. Realize no matter what, you never lie to them. Realize no matter what, you have to realize now. I realize that this chip is coming along now. You need to realize that this chip is also going to say, you need to go and get this chip so that you can work for money, and so you can buy food, and so you can do anything around the world, and so that you can travel, and so that you can do anything. I realize that many people are going to transform into the chip. I never need you to do that. I need you to realize to go the free way. I never need you to have a chip in you. I need you to go and work for God for free. I need you to give money for others to have what you need. I realize no matter what, when you do that, when you're giving I realize when you're giving money for others to get what you need, I promise you that there can be a blessing in that. I promise you, as long as they're never working for you. I realize, for example, you go to a prostitute. You give her money to have sex with her. I realize that she is working for the money. I realize that you are giving money to have sex with her. I realize that no matter what, you can see that that is blessed. I don't know. I realize that no matter what, you can see that you gave money. You can see that's blessed. You can see that no matter what, it's up to her about what she's working for. I realize no matter what, that you can see she's already working for money. I'd rather you never even give her money for sex. I realize now that you can even turn evil. I realize no matter what, that you can honestly see that. I realize no matter what, that when you're giving money for a person who's already a slave to do you a work, I realize that you're really making them work for you and never for God. I realize that's evil. I can honestly say that. I can honestly see now that when you're giving money towards somebody I realize when you're giving money towards somebody to do something for you, I realize that's evil work. I realize that when you're just giving money freely, I realize that's blessed. I realize that's for free. I realize that has nothing in return for it. I realize that's the best money in the world. I realize when you're giving money for somebody to do something for you in terms of your music so that you can do something for God, I realize something there. I realize that is also something that you can do. I realize that when you're giving money for a prostitute to have a sex with you, for you, I realize that's evil. I realize when you're doing it for God, I realize you can do it. I realize you can always do it when you're doing it for God. You need to involve God in everything. You need to involve everything in freedom. I would rather you never give money towards someone to do anything for you. I'd rather you go and do it yourself for free. I promise you that you'll even much more likely be with God's favor. I promise you that God looks for people who give money freely without anything in return. I'll give you $1 billion, bro. You just go have fun. I never care about you. I'll just give you $1 million. You just go do whatever you need. I'll give you $1 trillion. You just make sure that you go and get what you need. I'm just rich. I just give you money freely. I promise you that's God's work. I realize that when you're giving $1 trillion for somebody to do some jobs for you, I realize that's you leading them into a person who is away of. I realize that you are leading them away from God. I realize that's evil. I realize that's evil, and I will never do that anymore. I'll never give money anymore to anybody to do me a job. I'll never do that either. I realize that's something that you have to learn. I realize I've learned it already. I realize no matter what, that the only real money that you can ever make is free money. I realize that money comes freely. I realized that's the real money. And when nobody gives you free money, you just go work for free anyway. I realized that. I realized when you're giving money, you go give money toward what you need. So for example, you go into a supermarket store, you realize that people have worked for that to even put in the store. You go into the store, you give money for it. I realize now that you realize that you need to live. You need to have something to eat. I realize that you are really giving money so that you can live. I realize there's nothing wrong in that. I realize that other people have worked for that to happen. I realize that you may have given money in order for those people to be working there. I realize that can also happen. I realize although God needs you to live. God needs you to live. God needs you to be in the planet. I realize that God's saying, you need to go and just give money for what you need. I realize God's saying that you need money so that you can work for free. I realize no matter what, you need money so that you can realize that you can give it freely. I realize you can only give money freely. I realize no matter what, that you go and give money freely. You go give money freely wherever you need. I realize that you can go and give it freely anywhere. You can give it to a prostitute, you can give it anywhere. I realize that God really speaks for that. I realize God's really saying, I really mean to give it freely without anything in return. I realize that's more of a aspect of life where you have to finalize where you have to give money freely. You have to give money freely for something. So I realize, so you just go and figure out where you can give money for free. You have to realize that that's the most blessed way to make money as well. You realize you will realize that the more money you give for free, you will amplify that money back in return. You will make more than what you give. You have to realize that when you go and give it to charity for free, I promise you, you will make something even more from that. You go give a homeless man $10 on the street, you give him money for free. I promise you, you will amplify your freeness. I promise you, you go to your dad. You go to your biological dad and you give him $100 for free. I promise you, you'll have more money in return. I promise you never lost the money in the first place. You give a kid $50, you do it for free. I promise you, you'll have more in return. You just go give it to people for free. You give handouts. You go and give a handout. You go give handouts. I promise you, when you give handouts, you will amplify your success. I need you to realize that's what the ultimate scenario is. You give it freely. I realize that money also, for example, with food, I realize that there is a price tag on food. I realize that you need to eat though. I realize that with God, I realize that God says that you need to eat. I realize that God says you need to get food with money. I realize that God says that you never need to get food with money. I realize that God says you need to really do God's work for free. I realize no matter what, that God's really saying that you just go and do your work for free and go and give your work in terms of your money for free to places, and make sure no matter what that you also never ever give money to what other people have priced on. I realize no matter what, that's what God is saying. I realize that God's saying that you never ever buy food and drinks in terms of what's priced in life. I realize God's really saying that you need to live, you need to really eat, you need to go and get yourself what you need. You need to get yourself what you need. You realize that no matter what, you will get scammed. You just have to realize to never get scammed. I realize that God's saying that you never need to get scammed in life. You need to go into places and find deals that are better for you in terms of freedom. I realize the more freedom you find, I realize the egg baskets. I realize, where is that egg? I realize, where did God put the egg. I realize I have to go find the golden egg. I realize you need to go and find the tricks. I realize that God may have planted freeness everywhere in the world, and you have to go and search for it. You have to go search for the golden goose. You have to go and search for the golden goose who laid the golden nuggets and eggs. You have to find freedom in the world. I promise you that you always find it. I promise you that those who look for freedom will find it. I mean that God means that you need to cut all your expenses, and you need to start investing your money in only what you need minimally. I promise you that you need only minimal amounts of anything that you give money for. I promise you that you need accommodation. I promise you that you have free accommodation. I promise you it's even better for you. I promise you that you have free food. I promise you it's even better for you. I promise you when you have free food, you never give money for food. I promise you when you have free accommodation, you never give money for accommodation. I promise you that when you have free internet, you never give money for internet. I promise you when you have free everything, I promise you, you have the best lifestyle. I promise you that when everything in your life is for free, I promise you that is how to work everything. You need to go and find your work in freedom. You need to realize that your life must be free. You need to go and find your freedom. You need to go and find your financial freedom by really capitalizing on never giving money towards anything that you never need. You need to go and find your way through everything in life. You need to realize that you never even price yourself and you never work for money. You need more time and you need more money. I realize no matter what, you just need freedom. You just need freedom. I promise you never even stick to anything else except for freedom. You just need more freedom in everything. You need more freedom. You focus only on freedom. You focus on how to get more freedom. I promise you that is the road. I promise you that is the way that you can really amplify something in your life. You can really do something that's really going to amplify your success in a way that you say, I found my freedom here. I really see what you're on about. Realize that when you're working for free, you always make your success and dreams come true. Realize that I have more than enough money now. I have more than enough money to have a kid and a wife. I can have 2 kids now and a wife. I promise you. I can have 2 kids now and a wife. I have no problem. I have more than enough money for it. I have the habits. I work for free. I have God. I relax. I can do it. I just realized I deserve more than that. I also never deserve to be in one spot. I need to go and travel the world. I need a wife. I also need 2 kids. I need 5 kids more. I need to go work for it. I have to go do more smart work. I have to go do more freedom work. I have to go and realize that I've lost nothing in the process. I just enjoy my life. I realize no matter what that Grant Cardone, and I realize that Gary Vaynerchuk is just enjoying the process. I realize he says the words, enjoy the process. I realize when you're enjoying the process, you're really working for free. I enjoy it now. I've been speaking for however long. I've just been speaking for 1 moment. I've been speaking for 1 idea. I've been speaking for 1 second. I realize that I've been speaking for eternity. I've only had one focus in life. I realize I've been growing the whole time. I realize no matter what, you need to also do something of this nature, and you need to do it for free. I realize that no one's going to give you $50,000 to do anything. You need to realize that somebody will never give you money to do anything. You never need to let them do that. I never need you to receive money to go and do something for someone. I realize otherwise, you'll be a person who is a slave to, I realize that you'll be a slave to somebody else. I never need you to receive money so you can do someone a favor. I never need you to do that. I need you to be a person who receives money and you just go your way. You never care about the person. I realize they give you money and you just go your way. You never have to do anything for them. I realized as soon as you gain some money because someone called you to go to their public speaking event and they offered you $100,000 to speak for 1 hour at a public speaking event, and you go for the money, I realized that you just sold yourself for the devil. I realized that you go and do it for free. I realized that you never even be the person up on stage doing that. I realized that people are doing keynote speeches for $50,000 on stage. I realized they're doing it actually on stage. I realized they're going for the money. I realized that they're getting paid. I never get paid for anything. I never get paid to do anything anymore. I will never do a keynote speech for $50,000. I never do it for money. I'll just go there and I'll do it. I realize that's what God is saying. I need to realize that God never needs you to public speak for any big event out there for money. You just go there. Who cares about the money? I realize they will drop the money in your pocket. I realize it will just be free. I realize that when they call you and say, or in face they say, you now will have to do something for me for this money. I say, fuck you. I never came for your money. You have to realize when people are speaking over the phone with you and saying, I'll give you this much money for you to work for this long, I promise you, you'll be a slave for that money. I realize it's never worth it. I realize that even missing God for 1 second is never worth it. I never need you to sell your soul and who you are for money, because you're going to go into darkness. You're going to fall from the person you are. I realize that people will try to put you in a contract. I realize no matter what, that you're going to do it for free. I never need you to be in a contract doing it for free. I realize you sold yourself to the devil. I realize no matter what, I realize what's going on. I realize you work for free, even when you're in a contract. I promise you that you're never working for the money though. I will promise you now that when people put you in a contract, you've usually sold yourself to the devil. I can say that. I need you to never have a contract in the first place. I need you to realize that those people who put you in a contract are never your friends. I never care. I never care about your 1 hour gig for $100,000. I never care about that. I'm richer than that. I'm richer than 1 million. I'm richer than, I'll never do it for 2 billion. I never do 1 hour of your event for 2 billion. I realize what's going on. I'll never even give you money for your stupid events because I already see how you are. I realize no matter what, you need to be a person who will just go there and do it for free. I never need them to call you. I realize that I never need them to call you to offer you money so that you be a slave. I never need you to be a slave and say yes. I never need you to say that you're a slave. I need you to just realize that when people call you